you are traveling by air in Nigeria soon, there is a new rule you absolutely need to know about, and it concerns something almost everyone carries today: power banks. Many passengers casually throw their power banks inside their checked luggage or drop them inside the overhead compartments without thinking twice. But the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, also known as the NCAA, has issued a passenger safety notice introducing strict rules on how power banks can be carried on aircraft. Under the new directives, passengers must carry power banks only in hand luggage, cannot charge them during the flight, and must keep them visible and accessible at all times. Even more surprising, you are only allowed a maximum of 2 power banks per passenger, and each one must not exceed 100 watt hours. These rules may sound strict, but they are not random. They are based on serious safety concerns involving lithium batteries on aircraft. So in this video, we are going to break everything down in simple terms. What the new NCAA power bank rules actually say, why airlines are suddenly strict about power banks, what 100 watt hour really means, what could happen if you violate the rule, and what Nigerian travelers should do before going to the airport. Let's break it down. The safety notice from the NCAA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, focuses on how passengers carry and use power banks during flights. Here are the key rules. Number 1, power banks must be carried in hand baggage only. Passengers are not allowed to pack power banks inside checked luggage. This means if you are traveling with a suitcase that will go into the aircraft cargo hold, your power bank must not be inside that bag. Instead, it must remain with you in your carry-on bag or handbag inside the cabin. This rule is actually consistent with global aviation standards. Lithium battery devices like power banks, laptops, and spare batteries are usually restricted from cargo compartments because if something goes wrong, it is harder to detect quickly. Number 2, power banks cannot be stored in overhead compartments. Another major change is that power banks should not be placed in overhead luggage bin. Instead, they should remain within easy reach of the passenger, such as in a seat pocket, under the seat in front of you, or inside a small carry-on bag that remains accessible. This reason is simple. If a battery begins overheating or smoking, cabin crew must be able to access it immediately. If it is buried inside an overhead bag, the problem may not be noticed quickly. Number 3, passengers cannot charge power banks during the flight. The directives also state that passengers should not recharge power banks on board the aircraft. In addition, passengers are advised not to use power banks to charge phones or other devices during the flight. This part surprises many travelers because charging phones with power banks during flight has become common, but aviation authorities say charging increases the heat inside lithium batteries, which could potentially increase fire risk in rare cases. Number 4, maximum 2 power banks per passenger. Another important restriction is quantity limits. Each passenger is allowed a minimum of 2 power banks only. If you travel with 3 or 4 power banks, airport security or airline staff may confiscate the extra one or ask you to leave them behind. Number 5, capacity limit, maximum 100 watt hour. Perhaps the most technical part of the rule is the energy capacity limit. Each power bank must not exceed 100 watt hours. Devices with capacity higher than that are considered high energy lithium batteries, which carry greater risk. According to aviation safety standard, under 100 watt allowed without approval, 100 watt to 160 watt airline approval required, above 160 watt completely banned from aircraft. Most regular consumer power banks fall under 100 watt limit. but very large power banks designed for laptop or camping may exceed it. So why are aviation authorities suddenly paying attention to power banks? The answer lies in the type of battery they use. Most power banks use lithium-ion batteries. Lithium batteries are powerful and efficient, but they also have a rare but serious risk known as thermal runaway. Thermal runaway occurs when a battery overheats and triggers a chemical reaction that causes rapid temperature increase, smoke, fire, or in extreme cases explosion, and inside an aircraft flying 35,000 feet above the ground. Any fire is a major safety risk. That is why aviation authorities around the world treat lithium batteries very carefully. One specific part of NCAA rules that surprised many travelers is the ban of storing power banks in overhead compartments. But safety experts say the reason is simple. If a power bank overheats in the overhead bin, passengers may not notice immediately. Smoke would spread before crew detect it. Access could be delayed because luggage must be removed by forcing passengers to keep power banks within reach, under the seat or in the seat pocket. Cabin crew can respond immediately if a problem occurs. Quick response is critical when dealing with battery fires. Another important thing to understand is that Nigeria is not the only country enforcing such rules. Airlines and aviation regulators across the world already have similar restrictions. In fact, many international airlines already require that spare lithium batteries stay in carry-on baggage. Large batteries need airline approval. Batteries above certain limits are banned entirely. So, the NCAA directive simply aligns Nigeria with global aviation safety standards. For many Nigerian travelers, power banks are essential. Between long airport waits, delayed flights, and limited charging outlets, power banks help keep phones alive. But under new rules, passengers need to be more careful. Before heading to the airport, travelers should check the capacity of their power bank, look for the watts rating printed on the device. If it is above 100 watts, you may need airline approval. If it exceeds 160 watts, you cannot travel with it. Pack it in your carry-on. Never pack your power bank inside checked luggage. If airport security discovers it in checked bags, they may remove it or delay your baggage processing. Bring only what you need. Since only 2 power banks are allowed per passenger, there is no need to carry several. One good power bank is usually enough for most flights. Keep it accessible. Avoid burying your power bank inside multiple bags. You should be able to access it quickly if airline staff asks to see it. If passengers ignore these rules, several things could happen. At the airport, security officer may remove the device. Airline staff may stop boarding. You may be asked to discard the power bank in rare cases. Repeated refusal to comply with safety rules could even result in denying boarding. This is why airlines and aviation regulators emphasize passenger awareness. So in conclusion, the new power bank safety notice from the NCAA's Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority may seem strict, but it is primarily about one thing: flight safety. Power banks must now be carried only in hand luggage, not be placed in checked baggage, not be stored in overhead bins, not be used to charge devices during flight, be limited to 2 units per passenger, and each must be under 100 watt-hours. These measures are designed to reduce the risk of lithium battery fires on board aircraft, something aviation authorities around the world take very seriously. So if you are flying soon, whether within Nigeria or internationally, it's important to check your power bank and follow the new guidelines, because sometimes the smallest device in your bag can become the biggest safety risk. And aviation safety rules are always written based on lessons learned from past incidents. If you find this information helpful, kindly like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.